Hi, I'm Royce Morales. I'm a transformational facilitator, spiritual teacher, radio show host. And today I want to talk to you about fear because you've probably been told that fear is a bad thing and it makes you a coward and weak and all of that stuff that you were told about fear. But one of the things I talk about in my course is that fear is really your friend. Not only does it help you survive on a primitive level, but it also is the part of you that can allow you to be kicked in the butt and inspired and take risks and have amazing things to talk about with your friends after you do that bungee jump. But I want to talk about some things that fear does. I've already mentioned that fear keeps you alive. It is the primitive fight flight mechanism that literally says, don't do it. Don't jump off of that cliff, or don't say that thing that is scary for you to say. No, so needless to say, fear can be a positive thing in that sense. It protects you, but because it is programmed from those incidents and from your past childhood experiences, it might be preventing you from doing things that you really should do because, yeah, they're scary, but they're also empowering and they allow you to express your purpose and all kinds of things. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. So fear makes you feel alive. What's more exciting? Is it sitting at home watching, binging Netflix, or is it jumping out of an airplane? Or is it saying something that might be a little bit scary to you that maybe will connect you with somebody? So there's a lot of fears that, to your primitive consciousness, they seem like, life threatening, but what they really are is just taking a little bit of a risk. And yeah, maybe things will change from that. Maybe you might lose a friend, but maybe you might establish a relationship with somebody that you wouldn't have had before. Fear is a sign that you're doing something awesome. Like I said, it's like, wow, when I did that thing, when I did that bungee jump, and I can tell my friends about it for the rest of my life, or maybe I jumped out of a burning building, or maybe I said hi to that stranger and I ended up marrying him. All of those things are signs that you are doing something awesome. And it's kind of like, wow, at the end of my life, am I going to sit there and think, gosh, if only I'd spent one more day in the office by my computer versus, wow, I did this amazing, empowering thing in my life, whatever it is. Fear shows you a possibility. I find that the bigger the fear, the more the possibility that's trying to show up. And I talk a lot about our intuition and how it's trying to lead us and guide us toward certain directions. But fear is the part of us that says, no, don't do it. And I find that the bigger the fear, the bigger the possibility. In my own life, I look back and I realize, gosh, that fear that made my heart pound and my stomach turn and all of that stuff ended up being the most important aspects of my life and the most empowering and possibilities that showed up from not listening to that fear. And I think that because we have this notion that fear is just such a bad thing to feel, anytime we feel it, we just try to push it away and say, oh gosh, well, my fear is telling me I shouldn't do that. Well, maybe your fear is telling you that you should do that. That has been the case in my life over and over and over again. Fear inspires action. It adds fuel to your empowerment. So again, if you're feeling a fear and you choose to do it, it's like it adds fire to whatever it is that you're choosing to do. And I find that sometimes people are so caught up in trying to make a living and trying to pay the rent and all of that stuff that, yeah, we have to do, but we just don't listen and we don't take those risks. Fear sets you free. And in what I mean by that is that I'm sure you've experienced times where something was scary and all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, I'm really in the moment because of that fear. And what a gift that is. Most of the time we're either pulled back to the past because unresolved incidents, or fantasizing about the future. When am I going to, get that raise, or when am I going to take that vacation? So we're never really in the moment. But when we're experiencing fear, sometimes it just pushes us to be in that moment and to be present and fully engaged in life. So what a gift that is, and what an amazing lesson to allow you to feel that way all the time, not necessarily from fear, but just from choosing to be in the moment. Needless to say, fear builds confidence. So every time you choose to do something and not buy into fear, it's that much easier the next time. So, I know in my own life, I was terrified of, for whatever reason, I was terrified of walking in the snow. And I found one time that, I had taken a little day trip up to a little snowy area. I live in Southern California, so snow was not something that I had experienced a lot. And I found myself just terrified to walk in the snow. And I'm thinking, that's really ridiculous. Why am I so scared? And I pushed myself to do it. And I found that not only was it easy, it was like no big deal. And the next time I was in snow, it was no big deal at all. I didn't even have those fears anymore. So fear builds confidence and trust and more courage. So doing something scary is literally exercising that trust muscle and making it stronger. In order to achieve your dreams, I don't think I've ever met anybody in all my years of teaching. I've never met anybody that didn't have fear of success. And I will talk about that over and over and over again because it is such a core issue for us. It might seem as though we really want to succeed, and maybe we went to 10 years of college so we could succeed, and we're doing all these things that look like we want to succeed, but there's a bigger part of us that says, oh, it's too scary to succeed. It's much safer to fail and be mediocre. So fear is trying to give you a message about that part of you that says, don't do it. It's too scary to succeed. So one of the things I do in my course is I talk about that, where that comes from and how we can resolve that. So if you're noticing as I'm talking that that's something that is perhaps a little subconsciously running your life, give me a call and let's dig up the roots of that. So what I teach in my course, my Perfect Life Awakening course, is to hear the message of your fear, but to not buy into it. It's so important to not buy into what fear is trying to tell you, because as far as fear is concerned, you should just be sitting there watching Netflix for the rest of your life and never moving. It would be very happy if you did that. So needless to say, you deserve to do a lot more in your life. You deserve to express your purpose and take risks and have great stories to tell at the end of your life or next week, whenever it is. And that's what you deserve to do as a human being. We're here to play in this existence. We're here to take risks and jump out of airplanes and talk to strangers. And the fears, those things don't have to be huge, dramatic things. They can be very subtle. In fact, some of the biggest fears we have are doing those subtle things like approaching that person, or shifting jobs, or making a commitment, or you name it. Those smaller ones are probably the bigger risk as far as your primitive fear-based consciousness is concerned. So needless to say, fear can paralyze you. It's up to you to not listen to it, and it's up to you to dig to the roots of those fears. I help people to do that. So give me a call and I'd love to work with you to get to the bottom of those fears so that they don't have the power over your life anymore. There's a great quote that I want to read you. He is a fight manager. I'd never heard of this guy, but I read this quote, and it's Cuss is his name, Cuss D'Amato. And the quote is, "The hero and the coward both feel the exact same fear. Only the hero confronts his fear and converts it into fire." I just love that quote. So convert your fears into fire, because otherwise, what's the point? Thank you so much for watching. Please hit subscribe and share. I do courses. I have an e-course that you can check out. I do live inner journey sessions with people, and I would love to work with you. Again, hit subscribe and like. Tell your friends about this information because it's really valuable. Thank you so much for being here.